and welcome to the New World Review. I'm Grand Line Waifu, and today I'm hoping there's enough to discuss about episode 141 and 142, because episode 141 was an odd combination of some intriguing things being dampened and somewhat mismanaged by the inclusion of other things. And the most interesting thing that's happened so far is the return of Leorio, and I'm really glad that is the case, because I'm glad he's having an impact on a world that frankly he didn't have much of an impact on before, which is really important. I say that. He's had some great moments in the show so far, and I'm glad we got backstory from him and that he was present for some of those things, but I feel as though to now he's been largely underutilized. I'm hoping that now, as he becomes important to more characters, he will become more integral to the story because he deserves it. He deserves it. Leorio, you're a good guy. If anything, I would have preferred it if he'd been integral to a different arc, because I'm still struggling so much to connect with this one, and my reasons for that are several-fold. Let's go. The first is the voting situation, which doesn't feel real or important to me, and I'm not clear why it matters on a broader scale. I get that it's important that Gon's friends see how much of a dick his dad is, and believe that he doesn't care about his son, but I'm struggling with the concept that there's more to the voting, which is odd, because I know that there has to be more. After all this time, I trust that Togashi must have some larger concept or larger idea in mind. He wouldn't bring those two things together in this arc if there weren't something important to happen. The problem is I'm missing it, and I don't want to be. When Gon has wished better and that all works, maybe we're going to have to get all the hunters together to deal with the fallout of the wish, or maybe we're going to have to deal with the missing hunters because we have another of Togashi's famous threads to consider. Or maybe something else is going to happen. But it hasn't happened yet. I hope we get to the inciting incident soon though, because I'm scared we've already hit it in both threads of this DNA strand arc, which is similar to the Killua Mountain Home arc, I guess, and I don't want that to be the case without my interest really engaged. The second thing I'm struggling with is the way the other strand, Killua's arc with Alaka and his family, feels like it should be fascinating. I feel like I should be at the edge of my seat, but I must be missing something, and it's difficult because my mind keeps sticking on the fact that for no narrative reason at all, Killua re-explained everything that has happened in this arc to now. We haven't had enough episodes in the arc to really get to a point where we need a recap of everything, but we got one anyway. Whenever Killua's shown doing this, I get the distinct flavor of stretch to the episode, as in they needed an extra 5 minutes of content, and this was the best way to do it without adding obvious filler. And while it also fits with who Killua is, in the first arc when he did things like this, there was new information to be had or new things he'd seen or experienced or some new insight, and so it was forgivable. But with this kind of watching, I get bored because not only am I learning nothing new, but he's not sharing anything new from himself, from the character. The order's even roughly the same, and then it just holds up the new information in the scene, which in this case was Illumi saying, "Time to die, bruh." And the problem with trying to build tension this way is that there's a difference between stillness because tension and stillness because boredom. One of them is actively disengaging while the other suspends us. And I'm sad because I didn't feel suspended, and it would have been such a powerful moment if I were truly taken by surprise at the truck trying to slam into them. Because it was a cool moment. It visually looked appealing. I wanted that. I loved that that happened, but I felt like it was undercut by the fact that we spent 5 minutes just going back on things that we didn't need to. I'll be honest, there's a lot of fuzziness in the storyline that I'm not really understanding, and in an arc that I'm not inclined to enjoy simply because of what we've come out of. I'm finding myself somewhat miffed that I feel after this time back to square one. Because we're learning the culture of one very obscure and strange family we knew nothing about before, and as much as getting into the world of ants, which I'll admit was bizarre, was a hard pill to swallow, this isn't just a hard pill to swallow, but one that is labor intensive because we're learning the politics and the culture of this family while learning the politics and culture of the Hunter Association, and it feels sort of out of context, you know? Hiski and Illumi's relationship is sort of saving the situation for me. Despite everything else happening, Illumi seems to be trying to kill one of his siblings without killing another of them. I love that Hisoka's got a double agent situation happening, and I find it curious that Illumi hasn't seen it or its expression with these kids before, especially since Hisoka has not hidden that behavior. Like, not ever. I know they've been busy doing different things, and I'm surprised someone as single-mindedly as Illumi could have missed Hisoka's relationship to the protagonists. That said, single-mindedness could be the reason for it too, I guess. So maybe not. Why there is such in-house fighting, I'm not sure, but the idea that Illumi doesn't see Aluka's family or is using a technicality to change that fact tells me a lot about how Illumi sees the world, or how Illumi's trying to manipulate the world, or how Illumi is just deciding how he's gonna get around things, I don't really know. Even more so since he directly asked Killua whether the needle had been taken from his head, so trying to protect one sibling while the other is specifically the target takes finesse and care, and let's just hurl some exploding trucks at him, I guess. Who? Tell me who is hiring them as assassins, because they're so messy. And at the end of the day, I wonder how well adjusted the regular citizens of this world are to the concept of death. After all, if an assassin doesn't get them, an ant will, and if an ant doesn't, an exploding, beautiful, fiery rose does, and it just doesn't seem safe to be a normal person in this world at all. But that's okay, because we're not watching a world of normal people, we're watching a world where a guy with a few coins can make them move as fast as bullets. I do not believe that Gotoh has much of a chance, but hey, let's see. Either way, it was nice knowing him, though I haven't really had an opinion on him this arc, so I guess it wasn't nice knowing him. One of the threads I am interested in is how intensely Killua cares about Aloka. Is that another needle in his head or someone else's wish? Because it's big emotion. Maybe I'll finally learn what Killua is, if not a human. Episode 142, and finally, I have a reason to care about this arc as Killua gets the hunters involved to hunt his brother and end the situation. As I complained about the arc to my husband, he pointed out that I love Killua and seem to hate his family. I'm here to say it's not all true. I don't hate his family. I hate that they seem to be used as a soul for no clear reason, and I have yet to see them actually complete a task that involves assassination. I mean, are they assassins or are they killers and dragon bus drivers? There was one moment where someone was assassinated in a number of arcs ago. Illumi did it. Good job, Illumi. You can be an assassin, I think. I feel like we've seen a number of people more powerful than them, and a number of people who seem more capable of assassinating a single person rather than everyone. I mean, assassination could be a whole group of people, but I guess Illumi isn't being paid to kill one person. This is a labor of love, but I'm still less impressed than I'd be for, I don't know, an actual assassin family. You know, I want to see the cool. I want to see them being like sneaky and cool. This is not a sneaky family. And I feel like we've been given this huge amount of information about them and their home, and it just hasn't been used. Instead, we find out more about the family just cause, and they all really should have considered that Killua would do something stupid and family focused rather than stupid and family protective, because he's clearly not like them and never has been, and he clearly doesn't like them. All that to say, I dislike his family, but I guess the dynamics are naturalistic enough that I can go, meh. If I got mad enough at my sister, I'd probably call a global hunting organization to hunt her down and force her to return the cake she stole from the fridge when she was 8 too. The idea that Killua cares more about Aloka than he does about Illumi makes total sense to me, and I like that he's going through with it. What I do wonder is whether it's going to work. If I'm honest, I don't really understand the politics within the Hunter organization at this point in time. It seems they want to make changes to a charter we neither knew existed nor have seen all of, and if I'm honest, I don't really want to know all of it, because that's another one of those encyclopedic things that happen. The fact that there are Hunter rules at all is entirely news to me, and I can't help but think that maybe this should have been foreshadowed in, I don't know, the first arc, where I spent the entire time asking what a hunter even was. And I'm still not sure what a hunter is, beyond someone who puts their attention into finding things, but that's vague given the range of things it's possible to choose to find, and it annoys me, because I like specificity. I want to read that charter, please. What wasn't vague was that scene of Hisoka killing Gotoh. I enjoyed that fight. It was smart, it was well animated, a good length, and I enjoyed the movement of it. I loved that it flowed from beginning to end, and I enjoyed the level of tension and attention given to something that really only deserved the amount of attention it got. Meanwhile, Killua's still running from his Trunchbull, who's a freaking motorcycle. I don't think I can get behind the idea of someone becoming a Nen motorbike, and I struggle even more with the idea of someone's granddaughter riding them on said bike. I just don't... I'm so confused by Subane's array of abilities that I kind of just wonder how she's keeping distance right now, especially since we know she has to be somewhere near the two kids at the moment. Is the motorbike capable of hovering? Is this like a magical Harry Potter bike? I do have to say that I'm enjoying this development of Hisoka as a comedic rather than dramatic element of this arc. He's a very flexible character, but I find it intriguing that after everything we've been through, Hisoka returning means we can't see him seriously anymore. He's not as dark as the last arc was, no, but I feel as though the darkness he provided in the earlier arcs and his own goals have been shunted to the side so that the present arc has someone to explain things to and laugh at or laugh with. And I have mixed feelings on this narrative shift for Hisoka, but at the same time, I like it. I do miss a Hiski driven to achieve his own ends, which feels sort of minimal here, and part of the problem is that it's just leading to him being a sidekick with social anxiety. I love my Hiski, please don't break. And with my Hiski firmly protected, that's it from me. If you enjoyed the turmoil I'm feeling about this whole arc, click here, and I'll see you next time.